Hello, it's the Kitchen Table Magician, and this is another episode of Building Blocks, and today we're going to discuss getting started in black. So, if you're new to the game or not real familiar with it and are starting to build a collection and try and build some decks that you can play with some relative success, this is going to be for you. Black is one of my favorite colors to play, because it allows you to play in kind of an alternative way, and that is from your graveyard, allowing your graveyard to almost become a second hand for you if you do it right. So there's a lot of cool things you can do that, and I'll talk about that as we go. A little side note on history: in the early days of Magic, black is the color that actually created some controversy for Wizards and Richard Garfield and the game in general, with a lot of conservative groups, because black is the color of darkness, the color of death, the color of all things evil. And so along those lines, it had a lot of quote-unquote demonic, satanic themes, I guess, and artwork and stuff like that. So a few of the guilty parties were things like Lord of the Pit, Unholy Strength with this pentagram, obviously the artwork on Dark Ritual. So it concerned a lot of more conservative groups and church groups and stuff like that, and almost killed the game. So when, after Revised Edition, Magic tried to clean up its act a little bit, they got rid of everything that referred to demons or any kind of demonic. Tried to clean up artwork. An example of that would be like Unholy Strength. They got rid of the pentagram. So I just find that to be a very interesting little side note, and one of the early hurdles that Magic had to overcome in the early days with black. Alright, so let's get into it. Alright, so first things first, let's talk about mana. Mana is everything you need to play Magic and do it quickly and fast. And black, along with green, is another color that's very, very good at producing early mana really fast. Although black's mana is one and done situationally mostly, whereas green mana you can get it out and keep it around in the form of elves and birds and stuff like that. So the first card you need to get for black is Dark Ritual. I know this is old school, this one's an alpha, but I have so many playsets of Dark Ritual I can't even count them all. But this is 1 black mana, add 3 black mana to your mana pool. One and done, but it ramps out so quickly. Here's a newer version. This is from Mirage, so I shouldn't say newer, but a more cleaned up version from Mirage. This was printed in every major big set, probably up until, I don't know, Urza's, maybe Mercadian Masks had it. I don't remember when they stopped printing it, but they're easy to find. They don't cost a lot of money. Every black deck you build should have 4. An alternative is Cabal Ritual. This was from Torment. 2 black, get 3, but it has threshold. If you play the 2 black, you can get 5, so later in the game you can ramp up. And then also in the form of some creatures. Blood Pet is a nice one. 1 mana, 1/1 body, sack it, add black to your mana pool. This works well with Graveyard Recursion as well. And then alternatively, Basil Thrall. This is from Fallen Empires. 2 black mana, you get a 1/2 body. You have to sacrifice him to get the 2 black. Or you have to tap him to get the 2 black and sacrifice him. So there is a little bit of a waiting period on Basil Thrall, but still a good card from Fallen Empires. So I play with all of this stuff to ramp out mana. All right, black also has some good staple, just really disruptive creature removal. The best one, and the one you should look for first, is Murder. Get a play set of these. This is Eldritch Moon. It was in one of the core sets earlier. And then an alternative backup, if you're not playing against black, Doomblade is even quicker at only 2 mana. It destroys a non-black creature, but if you get into it against a black deck, then you definitely want the Murders. And then some just obscure stuff. These are a little bit weirder, but they still get the job done. I have Chill to the Bones I play with a lot, and Rend Flesh I play with a lot. They have some minor conditions, but they will kill 95% of what you're playing against. Chill to the Bone will probably kill just about everything you're playing against. I mean, how many snow creatures do you run into? Seriously. So these are also great staples if you can't find, Murders and Doomblades. So look for those. And then black does something kind of unique. It is really good at tearing your opponent's hand apart and denying them threats just before they even get to play them. So stuff you want to look for is stuff like Mind Rot. This one is at sorcery speed, so it's probably my least favorite. 3 mana, but it forces him to discard 2 cards. But it's a good place to start. Some of my favorites are Duress for 1 black. you choose a non-creature card, non-land card, and have them discard that. It's a little conditional, but it's only 1 black, so you can rip a sorcery or instant or enchantment out of their hand. Inquisition of Kozilek has become very, very popular lately. They have to reveal their hand. You choose a non-land card from it with converted mana cost 3 or less, and they have to discard it. This is very, very disruptive, and again, only 1 black. And then my personal favorite is Hymn to Tourach. For 2 black, this is probably the best card to come out of Fallen Empires, even though this one is a Eternal Masters edition. But for 2 black, they discard 2 cards at random, so it's really, really good. You can almost a lot of times get into their best card stuff they would not normally discard on their own if you were forcing them to discard. So I love him for that. All right, so let's talk about graveyard recursion a little bit. Black is really good about getting things out of the graveyard. One of the earliest ways to do that was with Raise Dead. It's a sorcery for 1 black. Put a creature from your graveyard into your hand, so you can replay things. And then this Gravedigger actually initially came along in Tempest. This is again as an Eternal Masters one, but it's a 2/2 body for 4 mana. When it enters the battlefield, return a creature from your graveyard to your hand. This one you can actually loop with some other black cards and do it a lot of times. But what I like to do best is, instead of putting creatures back in my hand and having to recast them, if you can dump something really gigantic into your graveyard and then just bring it onto the battlefield some other way, that's even better. And Animate Dead was the first way to really do that, and still one of my favorite ways. This enchantment goes on a creature that's in your graveyard and brings it out from your graveyard onto the battlefield with a -1/-0 modifier. So it's very, very good. And then lately, this one came along. I think this was in one of the sets, the Innistrad sets initially. I think this one's a conspiracy one though. But anyway, for 2 black, or for 3 mana, you choose 2 target creatures in your graveyard, sacrifice another one of your creatures, and return the 2 chosen ones to the battlefield tapped. This is extremely powerful. So look for stuff like this if you're going to try and play from your graveyard. So how do you get stuff into your graveyard? Well, you could use Mind Rot to discard your own cards, because it does say target player, or other things to look for. Creatures that sacrifice themselves are good, or things like the Bloodthrone Vampire that give you a bonus for sacrificing a creature. In this case, the 3 cards I'm going to show you here all do the same thing, but there are other ways to do it as well. Bloodthrone Vampire, sacrifice a creature, get +2/+2, and it only costs 2 mana. Nantuko Husk, this was one of my favorite ways to do it before Vampire came along. Actually, it still is one of my, because it's a zombie, and I play a zombie deck. But anyway, same thing. 2/2 body, sack a creature, get +2/+2. And then from Legends, this was originally from Legends. This is my Chronicles version of Fallen Angel. But 3/3 flying, sacrifice a creature, she gets +2/+1 till the end of turn. So these kinds of things will get creatures into your graveyard for you while giving themselves a bonus. So what kinds of creatures do you want to be rotating in and out of your graveyard? Well, you look for creatures that do things as they die or as they hit the battlefield. Some of my favorites are Infectious Host. When it dies or is go to a graveyard, a player loses 2 life. So you can sacrifice it to the Nantuko Husk or one of these other guys. You're beefing up your Husk, your opponent's losing 2 life at the same time, and then you figure out a way to get it back out of your graveyard and do it again. Keening Banshee is another fun one. A creature gets -2/-2 till the end of the turn when Keening Banshee comes into play, plus you get a 2/2 flyer. Phyrexian Rager is really good. 2/2 body, when it comes into play, you draw a card, you lose a life. Totally worth it. If you can recycle that a few times, that's great, and get some bonuses. And then my absolute favorite is Necrotol. When this guy comes into the battlefield, it destroys a non-black creature, and it's a 2/1 body with first strike. If you can bounce this guy around a few times, you can really warp the battlefield in your favor. So looking for stuff like that, and even stuff in other colors too that you can bounce around. Also, creatures that bring themselves back from the graveyard are good. This is Bloodsoaked Champion. He's dirt cheap, even though he's a rare. You can get into them for $1 or so. 2/1 for 1 black, and he can bring himself back. So you can sacrifice him if you have to, get the bonuses on your other stuff or whatever bonuses you're looking for. And then he's got this raid ability that if you attack with something, you can put him back on the battlefield. And also Gravecrawler, probably the best zombie ever printed. It literally reads, you may cast it from your graveyard as long as you control another zombie, and it's a 2/1 for 1. So creatures that bring themselves back are awesome. And then as far as, while we're on black creatures, I'll just talk about some other, what I think are some of the most efficient creatures in the color. From Ravnica, we have Stinkweed Imp, Flying, Death Touch, and it has this thing called Dredge. So if it does die, so you block something and really big and kill it, and then your Stinkweed Imp goes to the graveyard as well, it's got Dredge 5. So you can, instead of drawing cards, you can remove 5 from the top of your library, put them in your graveyard, and draw the Stinkweed Imp instead. So this not only loads your graveyard for you for other things, and it also gets your guy back, and he's a 1/2 flying Death Toucher. So this guy's got a ton of value. And then some of my other favorite just value black creatures are Hypnotic Spectre, 2/2 flying for 3 mana. And if he hits an opponent, then that opponent discards a card at random. This has a ton of value. This is an old staple. And more recently, from the first Zendikar block, is Vampire Nighthawk, 2/3 flying, Death Touch, and Lifelink for 3 mana. Incredible amounts of value. So I would pick up play sets of those if I could. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about is tutors. Black has the best in the business. Most recently, and the easiest to get a hold of, is Diabolic Tutor. These are dirt cheap. They just got reprinted in Kaladesh. So you can find them. They're a little pricey at 4, but you literally go get any card you want from your library and put it in your hand. Or if you're looking for something more efficient and you can swing it, Demonic Tutors do the exact same thing as Diabolic for half the cost. Wizards quit reprinting them because of the clearly underlying tones on the card. But anyway, these can still be had. This is, I believe, a revised edition for $10 to $15. So it's not outrageous if you want to pick up 1 or 2 if you can swing it. Otherwise, Diabolic is a fine alternative. So I'm just going to end with that. Getting started in black. Thanks for watching.